She talks about how much he loves her. Nothing about her love.
Of
It's a
course
beautiful
not. Here are
picture.
some highlights. Yeah, here are some highlights. Even if there's no one else there, Meghan makes staff announce her in a room as the Duchess of Sussex.
Imagine being so hated by the magazine editor that wanted to turn you into a star that in their cover feature, they actually screw you over in such...
Meghan wanted a glowing feature, but Harper's Bazaar pulled up with a reality check wrapped in soft shade.
No, wait. She pauses mid-interview to take a photo of her own face in the foam.
On the surface, their latest spread looks like a chic love letter. Glossy shots, clean angles, aesthetic New York corners. Everything that screams, meet your modern Duchess. But behind that polished shine sits a quiet ambush waiting to hit her image like a curveball.
Imagine being so hated by the magazine editor that wanted to turn you into a star that in their cover feature, they actually screw you over in such...
Even when Meghan tries to lay low and act like a regular private citizen, Harper's Bazaar keeps locking her back into the royal box. Every line keeps tagging her as the Duchess of Sussex, like they're pressing a button over and over. It's subtle, but the message hits loud. She's still moving with that royal title right out front. Meghan might think the title gives her sparkle, status and clout. She might see it as harmless branding, something harmless to boost her image. But the way it shows up on the page reads like calculated strategy, because using a crown-owned title in a glossy feature doesn't just look flashy, it screams risk. It sends the world a reminder that she's leaning on royal energy to sell a vibe, sell a lifestyle, and let's be real, sell herself. The palace notices. It always does. Royal watchers notice too, and word is, William isn't impressed at all. Every commercial use of that title strengthens the argument for cutting it off someday. Meghan's smart, sure, but this is a dangerous game she's stepping into. One day those titles could vanish, and all these curated Duchess of Sussex moments could end up looking less like power and more like a last-minute grab. And Harper's Bazaar, they're rubbing salt in the wound without even realising it. By calling her the Duchess non-stop, they turn what was supposed to be a celebratory moment into a quiet critique. The feature basically tells her, go ahead, show off that title, but don't forget the consequences. In today's world of modern royalty, perception is the real crown. Meghan wants her image to be empowering, stylish, untouchable, but Bazaar slipped in a reminder that the cracks are showing. Titles may shine, but in the wrong moment with the wrong story, they turn into a trap. And Meghan, she's stepping right into it.
To imagine that when Oprah asked her if she was silenced or silenced, that is what she was held back from sharing with the mass.
Heels first, smiling like everything's perfect. Meghan has always pushed her brand as authentic. She drops that word in interviews, speeches, captions, everywhere like confetti, but this feature quietly shakes that whole foundation. Bazaar highlights her father's love for her, yet says nothing about her own feelings back. That absence isn't small, it hits hard. In Meghan's world, nothing is trivial. Every word, every photo, every move is calculated, and this missing piece exposes a gap she didn't plan for. Even far from royal duties, even in her private New York apartment, Meghan's image still looks staged and tightly controlled. Every glossy photo, every pose, every casual moment feels arranged. It's supposed to look like empowerment, but underneath it all, Bazaar hints at something fragile, something she doesn't want people to notice. Her authenticity issue goes deeper than a missing quote. It's a pattern. People see her title, her outfits, her polished persona, but the natural, unfiltered side of her is edited out. And trust the public. They feel that gap. They see the difference between the image she pushes and the reality she lives. Then the timing hits even harder.
By the staff as the Duchess of Sussex. Yes, that's right. This is actually a completely mortifying feature. We're going to go through it all today. And of course,
just as her Netflix trailer for With Love, Meghan goes viral, packed with staged romance and heavy PDA, Bazaar slides in with another blow. It reminds everyone that Meghan's authentic self still looks filtered, controlled, packaged for show. And that gap? It's sharp, and people won't ignore it. In Meghan's world, timing is everything. and Harper's Bazaar just delivered a precision strike. Their feature dropped the exact moment her new trailer lit up the internet. The trailer already had folks raising brows, and now the magazine quietly undercuts her image at the same time. To some, it looks brilliant, to others brutal, but either way, it hits. The magazine paints her as a modern, empowered duchess living that New York dream, but they also remind the world she can't escape scrutiny. Her family life, her authenticity, her entire persona stays under the spotlight. It plays out like a movie scene. Meghan posing in a luxury apartment, talking projects, flashing polished smiles, while the cracks in her story show up like shadows she can't shake. Meanwhile, the royals back in London are handling official duties at the Royal Variety performance. William and Catherine show up steady, calm, and committed. The contrast is intense. Meghan's carefully staged world sits right next to their real-life responsibility, and the comparison is rough. Bazaar isn't just reporting, they're staging a cultural moment. Meghan's brand, her story, her title, they all collide right on the page. Every smile, every luxury shot, every quiet editorial choice highlights one truth: she cannot control how people see her. Perception runs the show, and timing is deadly. Harper's Bazaar just set a countdown clock she can't pause. Even when Meghan walks far from the palace, her drama follows like a shadow. This feature proves she can't outrun the storyline. Even when she's presented as a self-made icon, the magazine reminds everyone, and Meghan, that the tension with the royal family still isn't over. And that missing line about her love for her father, that's not an accident. It's a message, a soft whisper telling the world that her authenticity, her relationships, and her public persona are wrapped in layers of complication. It's more than editing, it's symbolism, and it shows her story is far from neat. Meghan can present herself as independent, empowered, and fully in control. But Harper's Bazaar quietly shows the cracks in that image. The timing makes everything sharper. The feature lands just as the With Love, Meghan trailer is circulating, filled with staged PDA and polished romance, while the palace goes on with its steady rhythm of duty. The contrast hits hard, almost cinematic, and the message echoes silently. No matter how glossy her branding gets, the feud never truly fades, and the public notices every detail. Royal watchers are alert. William, Catherine, and palace insiders dissect every move, every photo shoot, every headline. Meghan keeps trying to rewrite her story, but the reality of royal rules, expectations, and consequences always pushes back. Harper's Bazaar's subtle digs pour fuel on that tension, reminding everyone that her personal struggles and public missteps aren't just headlines.
Going war with the British royal family, and to pretend that isn't happening anymore is
They're chapters in an ongoing saga, unfolding in real time. In Meghan's world, this isn't just a magazine spread, it's a warning. No matter how strong, empowered, or polished she tries to appear, the royal conflict stays alive, relentless, and ready to spark at any moment. Harper's Bazaar holds up the mirror quietly, and the reflection is sharper than she may have expected, leaving little room for error.
The European editor at large at the Daily Beast, but more importantly, in the context of this show, you will know I talk about him often as the man behind the brilliant royalist subtly.
And the magazine isn't simply flattering her, it's exposing her strategic errors. Sykes reveals what insiders whispered for months. Meghan's continuous use of her royal title in commercial settings isn't bold, it's reckless. Every Duchess of Sussex printed across those glossy pages doubles as a signal flare. William reportedly sees this repeated pattern as proof that titles may need to be reconsidered, and Harper's Bazaar, whether intentional or not, just handed more evidence to that argument, further intensifying scrutiny. Meghan is playing a high-stakes game. She's building herself up as a global icon, yet leaning heavily on a royal label with conditions and limits. If those titles vanish someday, her brand will suddenly stand exposed. Every magazine feature, every editorial moment, every calculated title drop tightens the pressure and adds weight to her ongoing reputation battle. Harper's Bazaar also suggests something the public already senses. Royal titles aren't accessories you pull out for glamour. There are consequences when they're used in commercial storytelling. The Crown sees it, the media reacts to it, and the public interprets it instantly. The risks stack up fast, with every carefully staged detail magnifying the tension. In the end, the magazine becomes a litmus test for Meghan's entire strategy. Sykes's insight spotlights a simple truth. The more she flaunts the Duchess title for personal gain, the closer she gets to a reckoning she can't fully control. And in Meghan's world, reckoning is never quiet. It's loud, public, and impossible to forget, leaving no escape from judgment. Her life is a balancing act, royal titles versus personal authenticity, and Harper's Bazaar reveals how shaky that balance really is. She wants to be celebrated as a modern icon, but she's also tethered to a label that carries scrutiny and conditions. The contradiction stands out and cannot be overlooked by anyone watching closely. The magazine shows it clearly. Titles bring glamour and visibility, but authenticity demands honesty and vulnerability, qualities the feature hints Meghan struggles to show. She projects empowerment, yet the story reveals the cracks beneath the surface and the performance behind every carefully curated image. When she uses the Duchess title, she broadcasts power. When she claims authenticity, she suggests humility. The public sees both, and the clash is unmistakable. What Harper's Bazaar doesn't say outright, it implies loudly. You can't carry both effortlessly and escape judgment from observers worldwide. The timing only amplifies everything. As the With Love, Meghan trailer pushes a curated romantic story to millions, the magazine quietly reveals how staged her narrative remains. Her authenticity crisis isn't quiet anymore. It's public, visible, and impossible to ignore, and the timing makes the exposure even more brutal. In Meghan's world, perception rules everything. Harper's Bazaar reminds her, and the world, that even the shiniest title can't hide cracks in the image. Titles hold power, but authenticity is the real currency, and Meghan is walking a very thin line in front of millions watching online and in print. Remember when she used her HR title for private gifts last year? The magazine slips in a subtle nod to that pattern, showing how often her choices lean on royal symbolism. Bazaar praises her achievements, but in doing so reveals a deeper problem. Her image looks controlled, curated, and perfected, but controlled is not authentic. And viewers, sharper than ever, see the difference and notice every small detail. Small choices add up. Titles used at the wrong moment, personal sentiments left out, staged photos repeated too often. All these little cracks build a bigger story over time. Harper's Bazaar magnifies that conversation whether Meghan likes it or not, making every detail matter more than ever. Even when she aims for independence and empowerment, the magazine points out that some choices undermine that message. The duality becomes bold. Meghan wants to be a modern, independent duchess, yet her every public move feels curated and heavily managed. The result is unavoidable. The public sees someone performing, not someone simply being, in every photo, video, and article. The timing couldn't be harsher. Harper's Bazaar quietly exposes authenticity issues at the exact moment Netflix releases a trailer full of dramatic PDA and staged moments. Two versions of Meghan hit the public at once, the glossy magazine icon and the theatrical on-screen Duchess. Both feel performative, but only one gets praised while the other gets mocked. The split is striking and impossible to ignore. Meanwhile, the palace moves on steadily. William and Catherine handle duties with calm precision. Their authenticity is shown through action, not presentation. Meghan's authenticity, meanwhile, looks filtered, scheduled, and commercialized. Harper's Bazaar highlights the widening gap between image and reality, and the audience can't help but notice. Meghan's brand rests on style and royal shine, but public perception measures her against real-world expectations. Staged moments get dissected instantly. Every editorial, every pose, every Duchess mention becomes a test of credibility, and every viewer forms their own verdict on what's genuine. For Meghan, this isn't just bad timing, it's a spotlight she can't dim. Harper's Bazaar and Netflix together remind everyone that authenticity can't be staged forever. Perception is everything, and timing hits like lightning. Every glossy moment adds more pressure and compounds her challenges. She may think she's steering the narrative, but the magazine makes it clear. Public perception is uncontrollable. Titles can be removed, admiration can fade, and glamour won't cover cracks forever. Harper's Bazaar exposes the deeper divide between her image and her truth. She speaks empowerment and independence, yet her choices often lean on the royal identity she claims to move beyond. The gap grows with every article, every appearance, every trailer, creating tension that can't be ignored. The editorial timing and framing build a narrative she can't fully escape. It's a warning. Continuing to use royal status while promoting a curated brand comes with a price. For Meghan, the reckoning feels inevitable and inescapable. Harper's Bazaar holds up the mirror and the reflection is clear. A duchess can shine in photos, but authenticity is harder to protect. And in Meghan's world, the mirror never lies, exposing every careful pose and every calculated smile. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment for more juicy royal insights.